What are your thoughts on the hate of bullet hell shooters because they are too hard?
So, odd question, but I do have an answer for it, and it's actually something I've been thinking about lately. So a shooter, as I would call it, would be a scrolling vertical shooter or horizontal shooter, like something like Raiden or R-Type or Gradius, just to put the genre, clearly label the genre. A bullet hell shooter or a Danmaku shooter is a type of shooter that started to gain popularity in the mid 90s, late 90s, and is still popular now, in which enemy patterns and waves are less important than dodging massive, what people often refer to as blooms of bullets. Basically, the screen fills with bullets, and you navigate your ship or your fairy princess or whatever the hell it is carefully through these while still holding down a fire button and ostensibly destroying enemies so that you can progress. Traditional shooters, you generally have far less bullets on screen. They move faster. Enemy patterns are generally pretty wicked, and you generally have a big hitbox. The hitbox is the area of your ship's sprite that will cause a collision. In a bullet hell shooter, your hitbox is literally almost like a pixel to 4 pixels in size. It's like a pinpoint, so that really, when you're maneuvering your ship, you're not maneuvering a ship, you're maneuvering a tiny dot, and that's how you zone in. I don't think that people hate bullet hell shooters. I mean, they're hugely popular, and I don't think they hate them because they are too hard. Traditional shooters and bullet hell shooters are two very different types of games that only look similar to me on the surface. The idea that bullet hell shooters are harder than old style shooters is kind of crazy. I am really good at certain bullet hell shooters and really, really bad at certain old school shooters. The reason why is because how you play is different. In a bullet hell shooter, you basically kind of hold on your fire. I mean, you learn which fire, because there's usually a slow fire, a spread fire, whatever. You learn what buttons you're going to hold on when, but you kind of zone in on your area of the screen, and you maneuver this undulating maze as you go around, every once in a while glancing upwards to kind of make sure you've got an eye on things. Whereas traditional shooters are a much broader picture. You really have to take in everything as it's happening. One is not better than the other, but play styles are different, and there are plenty of bullet hell shooters that are way easier than traditional shooters. So I don't think anyone hates on them because they're hard. I think people who don't like bullet hell shooters don't like them because they simply don't like that style of gameplay.
Yeah, well, Ian covered most of it. I think bullet hell shooters are interesting because, at least from the ones I played, they're more about, all right, just keep avoiding shit and keep firing, you'll destroy whatever the hell's there. It's just more about just avoidance versus a traditional shooter, whether it's top down or horizontal shooter, where it's more about knowing which power up to go to and taking the risk and getting it versus weaving in and out and doing that. And yes, you have to avoid fire on the way, but to me there's a lot bigger risk reward factor in more traditional shooters in terms of playing it safe versus going for that power, which can make it easier.
Yeah, there is, because I would agree largely. I mean, let's compare something like a Star Soldier, I guess, a Super Star Soldier, to something that's well known in the bullet hell shooter realm, like Mushihime is fairly well known. Star Soldier or Super Star Soldier or something like Nexer, which I've been playing lately, not bullet hell, but very, very fast paced. Waves of enemies that come at you very, very quickly. Power ups put in the same spot every time in very, very precarious locations. You need to memorize these waves. You need to move. You need to dodge. You need to make that quick motion to get which weapon is going to help you, the wide shot or the narrow shot, and you think very quickly, and it's more of a pattern memorization type thing. But if you're good, you can still proceed very far on skill. Bullet hell, you can still proceed very far on skill. The weird thing is in bullet hell shooters, I'm not saying all, but in a lot of them, your power-ups and things are kind of like a foregone conclusion. If you last long enough, you're going to get these power-ups. And knowing where enemies are going to come in can make the bullet patterns that you have to weave your way through less troublesome, but it's still kind of more of like a moving maze game than anything like that.
It's almost like the enemies in a bullet hell don't really matter. I hate to say don't matter as much, because it's not like you can get a leg up. You're always gonna face a ton of bullets.
Yeah,
it's harder to get a leg up. While in a traditional shooter, there are enemies that you better fucking take out first because they're gonna throw like missiles at you. They're gonna lock on and kill you a lot easier. You know, that's the difference.
I mean, and obviously there's wiggle room for both of these. I'm not
Sure.
looking to get shredded in the fucking comments.
Oh, those bullet hell hardcore fans
I know
coming
my
after us.
shooters, but there is a definite different play style, and I don't think bullet hell is automatically more hard.